Hello and welcome to Cataclysm University. My name is Vormithrax and this is course number 12, where we will be discussing the morale and focus sections of the game. So in Cataclysm, morale and focus are very important factors, and you can see the morale indicator right here. It'll either be a green happy face, a gray neutral, or a red sad face. And that's just a general indication of what your morale is for your character, whether he's happy, sad, or indifferent. And in addition, there is a focus value right here. So these are important for a couple reasons. The overall morale or happiness of your NPC can come into play in ways that it will restrict you from doing certain actions. If your morale is too low, you'll have to increase your morale before it lets you do certain things. Also, if your morale is high, then you can actually gain benefits. So with a high morale, you might be a little stronger, a little faster, have more action points. There's a list of various things and benefits depending on how high you can push your morale. But you want to avoid low morale, of course, and get as high morale as you can and keep it high. So here's where you can look at the details. If you hit V to bring up the morale screen, this is what's affecting your morale. So we can see that a source is being wet. So I stepped out into the rain earlier, I got wet, and that's causing a negative morale effect. I ate some chewing gum and some candy, but the effects have worn off, and those will disappear off the list soon. And I also had some nachos with meat and cheese, where I'm still getting a little bit of an effect. Now the overall accumulative effect is my total morale is at -1, so I'm losing focus points per minute. So focus gain per minute is currently minus 0.18. So our focus is dropping because we have an overall loss of morale. So what can we do about that? Well, a couple things. We can eat some more nachos, eat some more gum, and eat some more candy. Look at the list again, and it's refreshed those to the new values. They last X amount of time and then disappear. But because we've done that, you can now see we have a morale gain of plus 23, which translates to a focus gain. So now, as time passes, we're going to be increasing our focus. So I'm going to go ahead and let a little time pass. And then we'll look at the numbers again. So the wet value will disappear eventually. You can also use a towel. You can apply a towel, and that will dry you out basically and get rid of that entirely. So that's a good way of removing the wet negative morale modifier. Just keep a towel handy somewhere. So the focus is now increasing slowly over time. And you'll find that the focus value slowly slides up and down the scale. Now, an important thing to understand about focus, there's two things I want to make sure to mention. First, focus is base or median set at 100. It wants to stay at 100. And what I mean by that is, if it's lower than 100, it will naturally gravitate back up to 100 without any other morale modifiers in play. So if all of these morale modifiers disappeared, the focus would naturally gain and trend back up to 100 eventually, and then it would stop. The same is true in the other direction. If you push your focus above 100, it will decay back down to 100 naturally, and then stop at 100 again. So 100 is the equilibrium point. It will always trend towards 100 unless you apply modifiers, positive or negative, to the equation. So otherwise it'll always balance. Now the farther you get from the midpoint, the more extreme the change becomes. So if you push your morale up to 200, you're going to see a fast decrease as it starts to drop, and then it'll slow down as it continues to approach 100. So the further you get from 100, the faster the adjustment is. But it'll always gravitate back to 100 normally. So what does focus do? Well, focus is important because it represents a percentage modifier to any experience you gain towards your skill ups. So when we look at our character screen, we've got all of these skills. Anytime you perform an action in the game that's related to one of these skills, you will have a chance of gaining skill points or experience. Now the action has to be within a certain range of whatever your skill level is to gain skill. If you're trying something a little harder than your current skill, you get more points. If you're trying something lower than your current skill, you get less points. But that's the general idea. So let's say you are performing, let's say you're doing a combat attack. You're going to fire your handgun, and normally it would award you 100 points, for example, 100 experience points for firing the gun. If your morale is 100, you get the full 100 points, because it's the points awarded times your morale as a percentage. So 100 times 100% equals 100. You get the full value for the experience. If, on the other hand, you have very low focus, if your focus is terrible and it's down at 50, you're only going to get 50% of that experience. So if you would normally have achieved 100 experience points as a reward, you're only going to receive 50 points from that because your morale is 50. You can push your focus higher, and that basically gets you free experience out of thin air. So if your focus is 200, you get twice the XP for the same action. So instead of getting 100, it multiplies the 100 points of experience times the 200 multiplier for your focus, and you get 200 points. So it's very powerful, and you want to be carefully monitoring it, especially if you're about to do a cramming session with a bunch of books. So if you've gone out and scrounged a bunch of technical guides and manuals and books and so on, and you're about to do a big reading session and cozy up with all your books to learn a bunch of skills, be careful to monitor and maintain your focus. Get it up as high as you can before you start that activity. That way you'll be getting bonus or rewarded XP when you do it. Okay, so how do you raise it? So eating and drinking are two pretty easy methods. So you just come to the eating screen where it lists your various items. That's just the Shift-E command. And you have a joy column right here that will show you how much benefit you're going to get. So a chocolate candy is going to get you +3. Nachos with meat and cheese is really super yummy. So it gives you a +20 bonus for a certain amount of time. And this is how you can gauge it when you have a big pile of food to eat and drink. So you want to go ahead and eat and drink as much as you can that is going to be positive on the joy factor to raise your morale. And you can see the kind of benefits there. And then another way is through music. So if you have a music device, and I've got two in my inventory as examples. I've got an MP3 player that I can turn on and listen to, and I've also got an acoustic guitar. So let's use the MP3 player as an example. We'll go ahead and turn that on. You can see the message here. You put in the earbuds and start listening to music. Now, when it first starts, you're not going to see anything. But if I let a couple of turns go by and I check again, we're at a +4 music value now. If I let a larger amount of time go by and then check, you can see it's at +20, and that's where it caps out. So you're going to get a +20 value because of the music, and we've increased our total morale gain to +43. And the effect of that is our focus gain per minute of time that goes by is now at 0.29. So our focus will start increasing over time because of that. So let's go ahead and let some time go by. We'll do that a couple of times. Alright, and we take a look, and our food is starting to wear off, but our music is maintaining, and so we're still gaining focus, and we're back up to an 82. So it's moving up at a decent clip. Now, the MP3 player runs off of batteries, and let's say I don't want to burn my batteries, so we're going to wield the acoustic guitar, activate the acoustic guitar, and you can see here you're starting to play your acoustic guitar. And that will basically allow us to continue getting some points. So if we do this for another round, take a look right there. Alright, so the acoustic guitar is getting us a little bit more, but however, so we're up to 89 focus. I would normally want to eat some more food and drink and keep pushing this number up as high as possible, then start my reading session. Now, another thing to be aware of is when you do read, let's do the quick scan of these two, and then go to the read section. Books also have a fun factor. So some books are positive fun, other books are negative fun, and that has to do with affecting your morale and causing your focus to either rise or drop. So sometimes it can be worth it to do some reading to raise. You want to do the highest fun for the lowest amount of time to get the biggest benefit out of it. So you can do that. So there's a number of ways to read or to raise and lower your morale, and just be aware of that and what effects it has. Morale directly affects your focus, which directly affects your XP gain. So anytime you're doing an activity where you're really focusing on gaining experience points to raise skill levels, be very careful what your morale is, how to get it high, and how to maintain it. You can actually continuously play an acoustic guitar while reading a book, so I do recommend you wield, activate a musical instrument, then do your reading session, and you'll actually gain the continuous benefit of the morale increase from the musical instrument while you're reading. So something to do to help you gain as much XP as possible while you're doing that process. Well, I think that gives you all you need to know for this particular episode, so I think we're good. If you've enjoyed the course, and hopefully you have, then please visit the other courses in the series. If you have any questions that I haven't covered in this or any of the other courses, please use the Discord channel I've got linked down below. You can post questions there or chat with me or anybody else about the game. A lot of other folks there that are knowledgeable that can also help you if you have any questions or any problems that you want to talk about. We can do that there. And I also have my social media links listed below. You'd help me and the channel if you'd visit those and like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff to help the growth, and we can move forward and do bigger and better things. Again, thanks for visiting, and have a good day.